Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are going to tackle a term you're probably going to be hearing a lot more about, agentic AI. This is a huge leap forward in artificial intelligence, and you're about to find out exactly why.
All right, let's kick things off with a big question and kind of frame our thinking here. Think about it. What if instead of giving your AI a specific command, like, hey, search for flights to Spain, you just gave it a goal, like, plan my next vacation? And then it just does it. It handles everything, the research, the booking, the scheduling, all by itself. Yeah, that's the future we're stepping into.
And that really gets to the core of what we're talking about. We're shifting from thinking of AI as a passive tool to seeing it as an autonomous partner. It's the difference between an AI that can give you the steps to do something and one that actually takes the steps for you. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with what agentic AI even is. Then we'll see how it stacks up against the AI we're used to, peek under the hood to see how it works, check out the different types, and then, the fun part, we'll look at real-world examples and talk about why all of this really matters. Right, so to really get what makes agentic AI such a game changer, it helps to put it side by side with the AI that most of us use every day. Let's dig into what makes it so different. You know, this analogy just nails it. A calculator, right? It's an amazing tool, but it's totally reactive. It only does exactly what you tell it to. An accountant, though, they understand your big picture goal, manage my finances, and then they proactively do all the things needed to make that happen. That's the huge leap we're talking about. And if you boil it all down, it really comes down to one key difference: reactive versus proactive. Traditional AI just sits there and waits for your command. But agentic AI, it takes the initiative. And this totally flips our role, you know? We go from being the human in the loop, where we have to guide every single step, to being the human on the loop, where we're more like a supervisor, just keeping an eye on the overall strategy. Okay, so how does one of these agents actually think for itself? I mean, it's not magic, right? There's a really logical, repeatable cycle that lets it operate all on its own. Let's break down that process. So this loop, this is basically the engine that drives the whole thing. First, it perceives its surroundings. It's gathering data, seeing what's up. Then, based on that, it plans out a multi-step strategy to hit its goal. After that, it acts. It actually executes the plan. And here's the crucial part. It learns from what happened. It analyzes the results and updates its whole strategy for the next time around. It's constantly getting smarter. And all these characteristics, they don't work in isolation. They all have to work together. So the agent is autonomous, right? It operates on its own. It's goal-oriented. It's always focused on a specific objective. It's proactive in taking the steps to get there, but it's also reactive, meaning it can respond if things change in its environment. And of course, it's constantly learning and adapting. It's this combination that makes it so incredibly powerful. Okay, another really important thing to remember is that agentic AI isn't just one single thing. It's not a one-size-fits-all deal. It actually exists on a whole spectrum, from really simple systems to mind-blowingly complex ones. And you can see that spectrum laid out really clearly here. You know, on one end, you've got your simple reflex agents. Think of a smart thermostat. It just reacts to the current temperature. Simple. Then you get more complex with model-based agents. A self-driving car is a great example. It's building an internal model or map of the world around it. Moving up, you have goal-based agents, which can actually plan out a bunch of steps to reach a goal. And then, at the top of the food chain, you have utility-based agents. These are the ones that can weigh all these complex trade-offs to find the absolute best path forward, like a super sophisticated agent managing a financial portfolio. All right, so enough with the theory. Let's talk about how this stuff is actually showing up in the real world. Because agentic AI, it isn't just a concept in a lab anymore. It's already being used in some pretty amazing ways. I mean, we are starting to see these agents pop up literally everywhere, from personalized travel planning to completely automated financial trading, from proactive customer service bots to systems that manage your entire smart home. They're even optimizing massive supply chains and conducting autonomous scientific research. The common thread here? They're all automating these really complex, multi-step jobs that used to need a ton of human brain power. Yeah, just imagine an AI travel agent. You don't tell it find flights, you give it a goal. Plan a relaxing 7-day beach vacation in Southeast Asia for under $2,000 next month. Now, think about everything that goes into that. It has to understand what relaxing means, so it looks for less crowded spots. It's got to check visa rules, pour through hotel reviews, find flights with decent layovers, book the airport transfers. Heck, it might even create a list of suggested restaurants for you. It's doing all of that just to meet your one high-level goal.
Or picture this, a supply chain agent. This is where it gets to be a total game changer. It detects a shipping delay from one of your suppliers. But it doesn't just send you an email alert. No. It understands the goal is to keep the factory running, so it automatically reroutes materials from a different vendor to prevent a shutdown. It's autonomously solving the problem, maybe before a human even realizes there was a problem.
Okay, so what's the big takeaway from all of this? When you strip everything else away, why does agentic AI really, really matter? This chart really puts that leap into perspective. Traditional AI, that was all about executing single tasks. Translate this sentence, identify this picture. Agentic AI is about achieving entire goals and automating whole systems. That's a massive expansion of what we can delegate to machines, and you can bet that has huge implications for how we work. And we are not talking about small, incremental changes here. Some experts are projecting that something like 40%, 40 of the digital work we do could eventually be handed off to these autonomous agents. This isn't just another productivity tool, it's a fundamental rewiring of how work gets done. And that all brings us to a final and pretty crucial question. We're moving from a world where we use tools to a world where we collaborate with autonomous partners. So as AI becomes an actor in our world, not just a tool, what new possibilities open up? And what new rules will we need to create? The potential is absolutely massive, but it's going to require us to think very, very carefully as we build this new future together.